Yes, lads, I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be doing similarly to my last video, which was the reacting to my Premier League predictions halfway through. It's just going to be that for the Championship. Obviously, the Championship's a bit more unpredictable than the Premier League, so half of them are wrong to fuck. But we'll start in 24th. A team I got a lot of stick from the fan base. A team that's starting to turn it around. I had Barnsley to be rock bottom. They're currently sitting 22nd, which is still relegation. Their new manager is really sort of turning it around. Obviously, took points at Huddersfield recently, and Connor Chaplin is very, very good, as I said he was when he joined. But I always rated him from the time he was at Portsmouth and Coventry. So I had Barnsley's finished 24th, they're currently 22nd. Next up, I had Wigan in 23rd, and they are in 23rd, so that one's spot on. Wigan have been awful. They've had one win in 14, I think, and it was against Forest at Wigan, so they're not a side that they don't look like a side that wants to fight to stay up. I then had Millwall in 22nd, and this was one of the ones I said that's got completely wrong. Currently sitting 8th. And with Rowett in charge, they look a completely different side. Jeb Wallace is an absolute mastermind at the minute. I then had Luton to finish 21st. They currently sit rock bottom. From what I saw at Luton at the start of the year, it wasn't awful. Picked up a couple of wins, a couple of important points, and most importantly, they were scoring. And there's always a lot of goals in the Luton games. But they lost to 10 men Birmingham on the weekend. But they don't look, again, similarly to Wigan, they don't look like a team that has the fight to stay up. And I don't think they have the finances to secure a place in the Championship with their January signings. So I had Luton 21st, rock bottom at the minute. I then had QPR to finish 20th. Mark Warburton's QPR currently sit 15th. Mark Warburton's shit. Like, I'm not going to gloss over it. Ebery, as he's there, saviour. Naki Wells is looking incredible. Especially, I think it was a week ago. I think it was in that 5-1 win, didn't he get? He got a brace and 2 assists. He got an inform on FIFA actually. It was a very, very impressive performance. But I had QPR finishing 20th. They currently sit 15th. I then had Birmingham in 19th. They currently sit 18th, not too far off. Again, Birmingham could be in financial trouble apparently, but they've got the likes of Jude Bellingham and Lucas Jukovic is heavily linked to Nottingham Forest, which I very much welcome the idea of. They've picked up some interesting results. Obviously, came to the City Ground earlier in the season when I was on holiday and lost 3-0. And that was the first sort of taste I'd seen of them in the entire season. I saw that team and I did think they'd struggle this season. So I was one place off. I put them 19th. They're currently 18th. And another cock-up. This is the biggest cock-up so far. I put Brentford 18th because I thought the loss of Neil Maupay would hurt them. But Ollie Watkins has adapted brilliantly to that sort of bearing the whole team's offensive sort of duties on him. Obviously, he's got the likes of Ben Rama and Mbuemo also there. They struggled when they came down to the City Ground, but I think it'll be the opposite when we go down their place. They are a strong team. I do fancy them to go up in the top 2. I do fancy Leeds to drop into the playoffs late in the season, but I do think Brentford are in an immense, especially going forward, and with Pontus Jansson at the back. They're sort of a very attack-heavy team, but there's not a real weakness that you look in their team and think that's what's going to stop them getting top 2 or top 3 this season. Then had Charlton to finish 17th. They're only 2 places below that in 19th. Charlton's an interesting one because they obviously started the season off brilliantly. Lyle Taylor's injury did hurt them, but they have fallen off quite a bit. Conor Gallagher's looked an incredible loan signing, and Macaulay Bonne. Charlton have struggled for goals. It's a bit inconsistent for me, and I do fancy them to stay around 18th, 19th. Next up, I had Hull finishing 16th. They're in 11th. It's the Jared Bowen and Grosicki show over there, and with both those heavily linked with moves away from Hull, I do see them struggling and dropping more towards my prediction than if they were going to push for the playoffs. Eric Lehigh, captain, obviously ex-Forest man. But other than Bowen and Grosicki, they don't have anything. If you had a striker in between them, they'd look like a complete package going forward. But it's just defensively they look awful to me. And they don't look like a team that can get near playoffs for me. I think especially if Bowen or Grosicki leaves, I do think they'll struggle and drop towards 15th and 16th. Next up, I had Reading in 15th. They currently sit in 14th, so not too far off, but they are in incredible form. Reading are a solid team. Puskis is the most inconsistent fucker on this planet, but I do think they've got incredible talent, especially in the midfield. They've got a very dominant midfield, and Ovi Ajari is looking a complete talent in the middle. And we'll see what they can do with that. They got the youth such as Danny Loader. Renan Marta looked all right when he came on against Forest. He few runs forward, but other than that, there wasn't much. But I had Reading to finish 15th. They currently sit in 14th. I can see them getting 10th or 11th if they can keep the form going and pick up a couple of big wins. Then had Sheffield Wednesday in 14th. They're currently sitting 6th. They're doing quite well compared to what I thought. Obviously, they've got a relatively solid. Jordan Rhodes is shit, but he somehow banged out actually against us. Barry Bannon, he's a cunt. I'll not get into too much details about that. They obviously turned Forest over 4-0, but they have shown too much inconsistency for me to get a playoff position this year. I do think they'll finish around 8th, 9th, somewhere around there, but I predicted them 14th. They currently sit 6th. Then I had Bristol City to drop off a bit and finish 13th. They're currently in 9th. Nothing more than most people expected, really. They need one push to be playoffs. That's nothing much to be said about Bristol City, apart from maybe fixing up their recent form has been a bit shocking. And we got a point with 10 men up there, so I was very happy with that. But they currently sit 9th. I predicted them 13th. Next up, I backed Middlesbrough to come 11th. They've struggled at the start, but they're on incredible form recently. Apart from the draw at Derby, it wasn't brilliant. But other than that, they'd obviously they got the replay at Tottenham. They'd beaten Preston and West Brom in the weeks leading up. Woodgate seems to starting to find a bit his feet, but I still don't think he's the right man to take them forward. I predicted Middlesbrough to finish 11th. They currently sit 16th. I then put Preston 10th. They are 10th. They've dropped off a lot recently. They're out of the cup now and everything, and they just don't look the complete side to me. Ben Pearson's a little cheating fuck. But they've got players like Sean Maguire, who's obviously lightning quick, especially when you put a ball over the top. Nugent's shit. But they have got a few players in there like Alan Brown and Darnell Fisher that are impressive players on their day. Daniel Johnson's not a bad lad on his day. But they do struggle, especially. Well, I think Patrick Bowers, again, the signing of the season for Preston. He's been incredible, especially on a free. But I don't think they have the quality to get playoffs. I predicted them 10th. They currently sit 10th. Put Huddersfield in 9th because I thought they had the quality coming down. They've obviously not shown that. They obviously sit in 20th, but the Cowley brothers are doing well, I think, with what they've been given. But Huddersfield look a very inconsistent side. Even with the Cowley brothers coming in steady in the ship, I do think they'll stay around 17th, 18th at best. But I predicted them 9th. They currently sit 20th. Then back Blackburn to have a bit of a season. I put them in, obviously, 8th. I did think Bradley Dack would have more of an impact. Obviously, he's injured. But they've got a few interesting players. But I predicted Blackburn to be an 8th. Obviously, they're currently underperforming my prediction. They're currently in 13th. I then once again overestimated a relegation team. I thought Cardiff would do the best, especially with Warnock knowing the league. Obviously, he's gone now, and they brought in Neil Harris, who, again, wanker. They look all right. They're looking a bit better than they did at the start of the season, but I still can't see them pushing up past mid-table. I backed them to get just outside the playoffs in 7th. But, as things are going, they currently sit 12th. They're not looking incredible. And put the mighty Nottingham Forest to be 6th. We're overperforming my predictions in 5th, and for completely different reasons. I said Joe Lolly was the sort of turning point to that, the real, if Lolly leaves, we leave the playoffs. But Lolly's been off this season. I think many people can see that. There has been, obviously, the standouts this season have been Matty Cash, Joe Worrell with his new Ben Watson-esque trim. Bryce Samba, obviously, has been a revelation in goal. I just think we look more consistent this year. I mean, we obviously went, 11 unbeaten, 10 unbeaten early in the season, and we're taking some good points. But recently, obviously, we've been shaken by again, we lost 2 in a row. I hope we can solidify playoffs, but I'm not confident. I think we'll probably drop out into 8th, 7th or 8th, which, again, won't be a bad thing this season. Lamucci's unheard of coming into this season. But I predicted a 6th. We currently sit 5th with a game in hand. That game in hand could even take us 3rd. I then put Stoke 5th. The less said about this, the better. Stoke is shit. Full stop. Even we beat them at their place 3-2. And we look shit in that game. But yeah, I put Stoke 5th because I thought they'd be better this year. They're absolute dog shit. I then got Fulham in 4th. They currently sit 4th. I said they'd win the playoffs. I don't stand by that. I think if anyone's going to win the playoffs, it's more than likely going to be Brentford this year. Then again, the playoffs are a different beast. But Mitrovic has just gone out with an injury that looks to be quite serious. So I do see their form dropping a bit, but not too much because they're reliant on him. Obviously, he gets bags and bags of goals. But I do think they have players that can step up to the task and provide for them. I then had Leeds in third. They obviously sit second, 6 points off third, but they've looked a bit ropey as of recent. But I do fancy them to, as I said, at least stay third. I can't see them dropping anywhere below that. It'd be a letdown, obviously. It'll be a test of Bielsa's ability, I think, to keep this team in the top two. There are the sort of whispers of Leeds might be crumbling, might be falling apart, but I can see it happening in an extreme case. They're more than likely they are going to stay top two, and West Brom will go up with them. But it is the Championship, which is the only reason that's sort of placing that seed of doubt in my head that Leeds might bottle it. But I've had Leeds third. They currently sit second, and I don't see them dropping below my prediction. It killed me to make my second place prediction because I thought it was a bit of uncertainty around, the likes of Lampard and the lone players at Derby. But to my delight, they have fallen to absolute shit. It's been brilliant to watch. I can't lie. They got a decent result at Palace, to be fair. The VAR red card incident. I predicted Derby second. They're 17th. They're absolutely appalling at the minute. They're better than they have been, but earlier in the season, they still had not won away. I don't think they've won one away, maybe. But they are shit. Mind the gap, obviously, before we eventually probably bottle that 10-point gap. But yeah, Derby 17th, they're atrocious. Another prediction right. I've put West Brom up top. So far, I'm getting that one right. By far the best team in the league for me. They've got some stat. Mateus Pereira looks quality. Charlie Austin looks a bit shit, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. But they have got the likes of, Dean Garner's obviously picked up an injury. Sam Johnstone, I do stand by as the best keeper in the league, even though we do have Bryce Samba. I do think, honestly, that Sam Johnston's just incredible between the sticks. You've got quite a few young players that are doing quite well, like Carl Edwards and Furlong. Is it Daniel Furlong? But I do think West Brom are by far and away the best team in this league. So yeah, just to recap, I put West Brom top. I've obviously the prediction I have changed is I do fancy Leeds to go third and Brentford to go second, and I do fancy Leeds or Brentford to win the playoffs, depending on. But that's going to be it. That's the end of the video. If you stayed this long, you must be bored, or just fucking got a lot of time on your hands. But if you have enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, tell all your mates. There's some wanker getting loads of predictions wrong on YouTube. Get me a few views, be appreciated. And I'll see you in the next video. Lamucci's balmy art.